Sup, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold. And we're back over here at Firelands, continuing the How to Solo Gore the Firelands Raider. And we're working on Heroic Beth'tilac now. This guy is a motherfucker, let me tell you. It took me quite a few tries to do him, and there are two strats. I probably could have killed him the same way I did the normal guide for, was it Death from Above, the achievement for him? But I'm not going to show you guys that because I'm assuming most people don't have that type of gear. So he's going to spawn these spiders, and basically you need to be taunting these spiders down as soon as they get on you. And at the same time, you also need to be watching out for these other little ads that run towards you. As you can see, there's one of them that connects the line to them. And basically, the most important thing out of all this is making sure that you taunt down these spiderlings. And the reason for that is basically if you don't, then they'll put a web on you and it's a 24-second stun and it will like almost guaranteed kill you. And so you have to make sure that you're always taunting on cooldown. If you taunt on cooldown, you will not get webbed. I did not do this in my video, but I talked to somebody else who soloed this boss, and what they told me they did is they basically used Mocking Banner. So if you're a warrior, you can do this. They use Mocking Banner to kite or to taunt down an entire wave of them, which is probably something that I would do, but I just wasn't aware that that was an option. Because you're not actually going up to Beth'tilac, you're not going to be able to stop her from like raining down that ship that does like 20,000 damage per second. And so I would suggest this is probably only going to be doable by tanks or by like maybe a pet class like a hunter or a warlock. It would be very hard to do it as most other classes. I had to go to prot to do this. And basically I also, as you saw there, is I was kiting the drone around because the spiderlings will heal the drone. So I was kiting the drone around in a circle while the spiderlings were chasing it to where it wouldn't heal them. And after every explosion, she's going to spawn. I think it's like 8 more spinners, and you need to. She spawns, brings them down 2 at a time, and so just make sure that you kill those. The spinners actually do a surprisingly large amount of damage because they do a breath on you, and so don't underestimate the amount of damage that they'll do. In my opinion, I think that they're actually more deadly than the drones. The things that can kill you in this fight, if you're a tank, are basically being webbed, obviously, having too many spiderlings on you at a time, getting trapped in one of those orange pools from the exploding broodlings, or I don't know, just like something else weird, just overall damage and not having. See, I was stunned there. Luckily, I had my trinket and I was able to taunt him down. And I would suggest using a PvP trinket for this if you're having trouble. Luckily, if you're a Death Knight, you can also Death Grip them down, which is very nice. Gore Fiend's Grasp, I do not think works. I think I tried it before I tried this on my warrior, so it's kind of unfortunate. But basically, this is just all about controlling the spiderlings, and as you can see, like whenever a drone spawns, the spiderlings will run to them. And if the spiderlings heal the drone also does more damage, but I don't really ever think there's going to be a point where the drones are going to be doing lethal damage. So basically, as long as you can control the spinners, you're going to be good to go. I would say if you're like a very well-geared tank, like I'm using mostly DPS gear, and warriors have to use a lot of like reactive mitigation. And so if I was a Death Knight, and I actually knew how to play my Death Knight with the same gear that I have on my warrior, I would have basically no trouble doing this. And so, I mean, just keep that in mind. Like I'm having trouble doing this now because you can see I have a lot of spinners down and things are not going well for me. I also spec'd into Bladestorm here. The reason I spec'd into Bladestorm is because I knew I would get webbed and I could Bladestorm to immune to stun. And so it's all about basically being able to kind of prevent bad things from happening. As you can see there, and I did have my trinket up there, and so I did get lucky. As soon as she actually reaches phase 2, the fight is a lot easier. It's not over. I'm not going to say it's over because there is a high amount of tank damage. And if you're doing this as a caster, phase 2 is going to be very hard because I think if I remember correctly, she has 27 million health in 10-man normal, or sorry, 10-man heroic, what we're doing here. And so it is kind of a problem, but at the same time, I think that anybody who has the right gear and is like very experienced and knowledgeable about playing a class will have no trouble. As you saw there again, I just kited the spiderlings away from the drone, and basically whenever she comes down also, she will heal herself with the spiderlings, and so there's really not much of a point to try and damage her at the beginning. It just kind of, I don't know, gets you behind. I wouldn't do it at all. And so at this point, it's just kind of a burn thing. She does one ability on you. It's called Widow's Kiss. It basically reduces your healing taken. It's like a stacking thing, but the way it works is she only stacks it on one person. And also, after the stacks reach maximum, they expire, and then you're able to heal again. And she does enrage over time and do increasingly more damage. So as a warrior, this was no problem for me because I was able to just use shield barrier, and kind of just the way shield barrier works is it heals me the more damage I'm taking, and so basically it scales very well with high damage single target fights. And so as you can see there, I have Widow's Kiss, and my health is going down pretty low, but I didn't really ever think I was actually gonna die. This fight's actually it was the phase one was extremely frustrating for me. That's why I didn't like live record this or anything, because I died so many times. Like I just got sick of it. But eventually I got it done. And also you're going to be able to do more damage, obviously, if you're a tank, because you're getting vengeance. Towards the end I was getting hit for like 80k, 100k, and so it's like if you're a Death Knight, you're gonna have absolutely no trouble doing this if you can get to phase two, because obviously you have Death Shield or whatever, Blood Shield, so you're just like healing for, or like absorbing for like 1,000,000, and on top of the heal, I mean you're gonna be more than fine. Don't even worry about it. So Warrior is a little unnerving because of Second Wind, and then the Second Wind isn't healing me, and you know this, that, and the other thing. But I'd say this is probably one of the more difficult fights in Firelands, but it's definitely more than doable with like good Siege of Morgrimar gear. Like if you have Siege of Morgrimar gear, and you're probably gonna have no trouble doing this. I've seen people do it with a lot less gear, especially Death Knights, but just kind of showing how to do it, like just generally. I mean, the odds are you're not gonna like try and min max for this or whatever, so you know it's not really a good idea for me to show you guys, you know, all the specific, you know, like very complicated things to do. It's just, you know, very basic things, you know, taunt down the spinners, don't stand into puddles, and make sure you kill the spinners too, because they do a surprisingly large amount of damage, and I died to that quite a few times. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. And I do have a new, like, video video setup, and so hopefully it's not a little too weird. I haven't. It's the first video I've recorded with my new webcam setup because I got rid of my second monitor. But you know, I'm just seems like it's it seems alright. But we'll see. Anyways, you guys can see, you know, it's getting a little low, but I'm the kind of person. It's like unless I'm at like 1 health, I'm not really worried. You know, I'm doing fine. You know, I'm always like timing out the swing timer and all that. And obviously you need to do that. Once she reaches like very low health, you can chain cooldowns to make sure that you don't die at all, which is I think what I did just to be safe. Yeah, I got like last stand up and you know a couple other things just to be safe, because if I died at that last second after doing phase one, I would be really mad. That's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.